Hello students, I hope you are all fine and in good health. I was continuing with the chapter Deep Water, as you all know about it. So let me continue from where I left in my previous audio lecture presentation. Uh, then all effort ceased. He tried for the third time also, but he failed. And as a result, he had taken a lot of water inside his body, and he was not feeling well. The yellowish light was going out. All of a sudden, the ray of hope, it was going out, and there was total darkness, as we can say. Then all effort ceased. All his endeavors, all his effort ceased or stopped. I relaxed. Even my legs felt limp, and a blackness swept over my brain. It seems that his brain was also not functioning. He was on the verge of getting or being unconscious. It wiped out fear, it wiped out terror. Wiped out means it eliminated fear from his mind, it eliminated terror from his mind. There was no more panic. It was quiet and peaceful. He was feeling at peace with himself. Nothing to be afraid of. This is nice. To be drowsy, to go to sleep. He was getting no more afraid. He was feeling drowsy also, and it was a state of numbness. No need to jump. Too tired to jump. He was feeling very exhausted also to jump. It's nice to be carried gently, to float along in space. He was thinking, or he was feeling that he was floating in the space. Tender arms around me, tender arms like mothers. Now I must go to sleep. Now it seems that death is about to embrace him, like his mother affectionately would embrace him. In the similar way, death is about to embrace him. I crossed to oblivion. Oblivion, dear students, it is a state of forgetfulness, remembering nothing exactly, what is happening or what is going on. I crossed to oblivion, and the curtain of life fell. And it seems to me I don't remember any more thing. And it seems that my chapter of my life, or the curtain of my life, is about to fall. That means he is getting unconscious. The next I remember, I was lying on my stomach beside the pool vomiting. The next thing that he remembered was that he was lying on his stomach beside the swimming pool and he was vomiting. The chap that threw me in was saying, but I was only fooling. Someone said, the kid nearly died. Be all right now. Let's carry him to the locker room. Finally, after a bit of medical, uh, after a bit of medical facilities were provided to him, and obviously pressing his stomach, water came out, and finally the boy who had thrown him inside the swimming pool thinking that he would have swim, he was a bit shy. Now that boy also was there. Finally every one of them had taken William Douglas inside the locker room. So let me continue, dear students. Several hours later, I walked home. Now, several hours later, after he was more or less fine, he walked home. I was weak and trembling, but he was very weak. He was trembling also at the same time. I shook and cried when I lay on my bed, but the trauma or the fear of water, it was still within him. So obviously he cried a lot, and he was deep under trauma. I couldn't eat that night. Even it was not possible for him to eat also properly that night. For days, a haunting fear was in my heart. For days along, a haunting fear, it was in his heart. The slightest exertion upset me, making me wobbly in the knees and sick to my stomach. Now, the important thing was that A slightest sort of exertion would have upset him a lot, and for several days the trauma continued, and his legs used to wobble or tremble, as we can say, and he wasn't feeling well also. Practically speaking, he was not well. Mentally, physically, he was not well. I never went back to the pool. I feared water. I avoided it whenever I could. Now that hydrophobia had taken full control over his mind and senses, he went back to the pool. Uh, he never ever went back to the pool because he was very scared of water. And every time, each and every moment, he went on avoiding water whenever he could. A few years later, maybe after 5 or 6 years later, or 7 years later, the year has not been specified, only been told to us a few years later, when I came to know the waters of the Cascades, I wanted to get into them. Now, obviously, after a few years, he was very much eager to dive deeper into the water of the Cascades. He was very excited from inside. And whenever I did, whether I was wading the Teton or bumping river or bathing in warm lake of the goat rocks, the terror that had seized me in the pool would come back. But no matter, he was very excited, but every time, each and every moment, wherever he went along with his friends, whether it is in the Teton or bumping river or bathing in the warm lake of the goat rocks, that fear of water, that trauma, that hydrophobia is to come back again and again. And not only that, it is to take the full possession of his mind and senses. My legs would become paralyzed, and if the legs of a swimmer become paralyzed, it is at all impossible, very much impossible for the swimmer to swim. And here, because of that fear, because of the nervousness, his legs used to become paralyzed. I see horror would grab my heart. Not only that, a fear, a horror is to take full possession of his mind and senses. And though he was very excited from inside to swim in the water of the Cascades, to go on indulging in various water sports along with his friends, whether it is in the warm lake of the goat rocks, whether it is in the Teton or bumping river, every time he failed. Though he was very enthusiastic from inside, but when the actual situation comes, he was very, very scared. So he never ever indulged in any sort of water sports activities. Neither he indulged himself in bathing, swimming, or canoeing. He failed in all those things because every time when he is to take the endeavor, the fear of water is to take full possession of his mind and senses, and he had to stay back because of that. This handicap stayed with me as the years rolled by. In canoes on many lakes, fishing for landlocked salmon. Salmon is a kind of a fish. Bass fishing in New Hampshire. Trout fishing on the Deschutes. Trout is also a kind of a fish. And Metallinius in Oregon. Fishing for salmon on the Columbia. At Bumping Lake in the Cascades. Wherever I went, this is very important, dear students. Wherever he went, the haunting fear of the water followed me. Wherever he went, whether he went for a fishing trip, uh, whether he went for a boating trip, or whether he went for a swimming trip, maybe he went to New Hampshire, he went to Columbia, he went to Deschutes and Metallinius in Oregon. Wherever he went, whichever place he went, the fear, the haunting fear, to be very specific and precise, the haunting fear of water followed him every time. And what it did, practically it ruined. Ruined means it totally destroyed. It ruined my fishing trips, deprived me of the joy of canoeing, boating, and swimming. As I already told you, dear students, so finally, what it did, it deprived him. Whereas his friends could have enjoyed, or rather to say they enjoyed, but he was totally deprived of all these water sports activities. Enjoying with his friends, he can't do that. So ultimately, he was deprived of the joy of canoeing, boating, and swimming. His friends, they indulged themselves in it, but he failed because of the haunting fear of water. So, dear students, I am stopping right now here in this audio presentation. In my next audio presentation, I will discuss the next paragraph. Dear students, listen to this audio presentation, and if there is any doubt anywhere, please do ask me. Thank you, students. Thank you all.